Hello, everyone. Now I have name I want here, otherwise known as Patrick, and welcome back to another episode of Beginner's Guide to Legacy's Allure. And in this episode, we're going to be going over basic counters and why it's important to have some in your deck. Usually, when you first make a list, everyone's had this. You look at all the cards and you're just overwhelmed with, as there's so many. You originally think 160 gold, that's a whole lot. I'm just putting random stuff in my list. But you will soon figure out 160 is actually it's kind of restricting in a way. Simply because there are a lot of cards in the game, and if you don't have an answer to certain cards, sometimes you can just outright lose. So in this example, we have some very good counters and some very good units and some counters to represent why it's important to have them. So first off, a very important card that you need to be aware of is Battering Ram. Battering Ram's 11 gold, it has 8 health, and it has armor 2, and it can't be removed by enemy effects, and it does a ton of damage. So, Battering Ram is a very popular piece simply because if your opponent can't counter it, it can win the game by itself. I have seen games where your entire enemy team like pretty much kills the entire army but leaves battering ram, and battering ram somehow wins simply because they just don't have the damage to kill it. They just simply don't have the damage to kill battering ram. So having a way to kill battering ram is pretty important in every list simply because this is going to be a common card you'll be seeing just in a list, so you need to be wary of it. So a very common counter to battering ram is magic damage because armor only reduces physical damage, but a unit like Hellbear, which does magic damage with the imbued keyword, is really good because a unit like Ironhoof Minotaur, 12 gold, 4 damage, very strong unit. But if when it's against the battering ram, its Minotaur is going to lose 100% of the time. It simply just doesn't have the damage to beat battering ram. Plus, battering ram dealing 5 damage to it, it simply can't survive. It's going to get hit twice no matter what, and it's going to die. So instead of having an Iron Hoof, which would charge in and only deal 2 damage, a Hellbear would be infinitely better because once it hits the battering ram, the armor is completely negated and it will do 3 damage to it. Not only that, the Hellbear also has burn 2, which will then put 2 burn counters on the battering ram, which would deal another 2 magic damage to it. So by simply just having a Hellbear in your list, you can almost guarantee 5 damage to a battering ram just by hitting it once. Of course, there are probably going to be some priests and such to heal the battering ram, but the important thing is Hellbear does damage to battering ram, and that's all you care about. If you don't have damage to kill battering ram, it's simply just going to win the game. So having a counter to battering ram is important. And another important thing is magic damage, which is brings up another point. Magic damage is quite uh, relevant in a lot of lists simply because it's not a toggle. You either do physical damage or you deal magic damage. And the reason magic damage is a little tricky to just mass is because there are units like Spellbreaker that exist. Spellbreaker has magic resist 3. So it takes 3 less magic damage every time it takes magic damage. So a unit like Hellbear literally cannot kill Spellbreaker. It is impossible. Hellbear by itself cannot kill Spellbreaker. because it deals 3 magic damage and then it applies burn 2. Spellbreaker doesn't take damage from either. So do be wary not to put too much magic damage on your list simply because a Spellbreaker can be similar to a Battering Ram and that it just becomes impossible to kill Spellbreaker at a point. So that's why having a mix of physical damage and magic damage, or just having options of magic damage, is pretty important, because if I only ran magic damage, Spellbreaker would just win by itself. But if I only ran physical damage, then Battering Ram by itself could win. So having both Iron Hoof and Hellbear are pretty important, or just having units like Iron Hoof and Hellbear are pretty important because they can cover each other's weaknesses, which is a big thing about this game. A lot of cards seem really, really strong, but they do end up having just one card that completely counters them, and it's just impossible for that card to beat it. So just having another card that covers its weakness is very important. Anyway, I hope I got my point across. It's not as long of a video, but I feel like this is a very simple point to put across: is make sure you cover cards' weaknesses and not to just go all in on one strategy, or on just one. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, I should say, because a simple card like Spellbreaker could be like a game ender for you. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys learned something, and I'll see you all in the next video.